Hi everybody, I'm Ryan and today we're going to be doing a chair yoga practice. So you'll obviously want a chair for this. If you have a folding metal chair like the one I'm using, that works great. If you don't, a kitchen table chair works well. You want to have a chair that you can reach the back of with your hand or your arm. So any chair that you can do that in will work fine. And today's practice is going to be completely seated. I might throw in an option to stand a little bit for a part or two of it, but I want this to be accessible for anybody who has to be seated the whole time. So find your chair, find your space, and we'll get started. All right, so let's just take a second to get settled. Just find that position where you can sit up tall and either close your eyes or find somewhere to rest your eye gaze. Take a second just to notice what you're feeling in your body, to notice your breath. To bring a little bit of extra awareness to our breath today, let's bring our hands to the rib cage. So wrapping your fingers around the front of the rib cage, and if you can, bring your thumbs around the back of the rib cage. And just notice how the ribs move with the breath. So feel that expansion as you're inhaling, expanding into the front, the sides, and the back. Feel the ribs drawing back in as you breathe out. Take one more breath. And as you exhale, you can let the hands release down to the legs again. And we're going to find a little bit of movement next, starting with some stretches for the neck. So sitting up tall, lifting up through the crown of your head. As you breathe out, start to take your eye gaze over your right shoulder. So just finding some gentle rotation through the neck. And with your inhalation, come back through center. Exhale, take the eye gaze over your left shoulder. Inhale to come back through center again. We're going to do that same thing once more. So eye gaze goes over the right shoulder. This time, if you want a little more rotation, bring those right fingertips to the front side of your chin, left fingertips to the back of the head, and really gently use the fingertips to find a little more rotation. Inhale through center. Exhale, eye gaze over the left shoulder. And again, if you want a little extra rotation this time, left fingertips to the outside of the chin, right fingertips to the back of the head to find that little extra bit of rotation. Inhale, come back to center. All right, building on that rotation, we're going to move it down into the rest of the spine. So let's inhale, reach up with the arms. This time as we exhale, we're going to turn to the right, float the hands down. So in that right hand might find the back of your chair. You can shift the hips here to find what works best for you. You might even turn the hips a little bit to the right if that helps. You either have your left hand on your knee or somewhere on the chair. Take a few breaths. Slowly inhale, come back through center, reach up. And exhale to turn to the left. And again, feel free to shift the hips a little bit here if you need to find a slightly different position. Again, as you inhale, reach up, come back to center. And as we exhale, we'll just let the hands float down. All right, so from here, we're gonna come into Warrior Two. So again, you can shift a little bit to the side. I'm gonna shift a little bit to the left. We're gonna bring our right knee out to the side. And as much as you can, try to point the right knee and toes straight out to the right. And then we're gonna walk that left leg back so you can kind of heel toe that foot to begin to straighten the leg. You don't have to completely straighten the knee here if that feels too intense, but getting it as straight as you can. And once you've got your feet and your legs set, bring your attention up to the hips and the rib cage. So I notice with this position, with the seated version of this pose, I tend to go even more into kind of arching or kind of shifting my rib cage over. So if you're noticing that too, you can think about stacking the rib cage right on top of the hips, just like we would do if we were standing. And then we can add our arms, reaching front to back. And let's turn our right palm up. Inhale to reach up and overhead, reverse warrior. Exhale to come back through center, and we'll flow into side angle. So you can either take that right forearm down to your thigh, bending the elbow as you reach up with that left arm, or bring that right hand down to a block or to your ankle. And that left arm can reach straight up, or you can bring it overhead, bicep toward the ear. If you try that move and it pinches your shoulder or just doesn't feel good, try reaching forward first and then kind of sweeping that arm back into that overhead position. Let's exhale to come back up to Warrior Two again. So really feel into your feet here and imagine, or you'll have the option to actually do this if you want to, but really think about rooting down, pressing down into the ground with your feet. And then if it feels okay, you can shift a little bit and actually shift your weight onto your feet and come off of your seat. All right, so if you were off your seat, shift back onto it, come back to center, take a breath. And we'll do that on the other side. So walking that left hip open so the knee and toes are pointing out to the side. Begin to straighten that right leg as much as feels good. Again, notice the hips and the ribs. If the rib cage is kind of flaring out or up, see if you can stack it over the hips again. And then we can add our arms. Turn the left palm up. Inhale, reach up and over, reverse warrior. Exhale, flow through Warrior Two into side angle. Again, you can bring that left forearm across the thigh, or bring the hand down towards your ankle or to a block. Right arm can reach up, and also have the option for that right arm to come overhead. All right, so slowly come back to center. Again, as we come up to Warrior Two, position the feet so that you can really think about pressing down into the ground with both feet. And if you want to, you can shift off of your chair and come to standing for Warrior Two for a couple breaths. And if you're standing, you can come back to your seat and bring the legs back in. All right, so to give the legs a little bit of a break, let's shift so that our back is supported by the chair. And we're going to start to lift our right leg up. And if you can, grab on the front of your shin and pull that leg in a little closer. Maybe even get your heel or part of your foot on the chair, perhaps. Another way you could do this is to use a footstool or something to just have your foot lifted up and your knee and your hip flexed. If your ankle pops, that's okay as long as it doesn't hurt. And let's send that right leg back out. Same thing on the other side. Left knee hugs up toward the body. And maybe you get it on the seat of your chair, maybe you use a footstool or something. Just getting in some good knee and hip flexion here. All right, we can send that left foot back down to the floor, sitting up tall. We're going to move through a few rounds of cat and cow. So as you exhale, start to let your chin tuck toward the chest, start to round through the spine. You can think about the back of your rib cage moving backward. If it hits the back of the chair, scoot forward a little bit so you have more space. And then inhaling, reverse that motion, extend the spine, arch up, lift the heart, lift the eye gaze. Pull the rib cage forward a little bit. We'll do that a few more times with your breath. So just exhaling to round. And inhaling to extend. Do one more of each. Come back to center. Let's walk the feet out a little bit. So kind of like we were setting up for a wide angle position. We're going to inhale to reach the arms up, and we're going to find a forward fold as we exhale. So you can reach forward and slowly come down. You can either bring your hands down to blocks here, you can come to fingertips. You can even have your hands or your forearms on your knees here. But just finding a forward fold position that feels good for you. Take 2 more breaths. And slowly as you inhale, you begin to make your way back up. Back up to seated. And you can scoot back so that your back is supported by the chair. And we're going to finish with a little bit of breath work, some pranayama, and we're going to be working with our alternate nostril breathing today. I'm not going to mirror for this one because I know that I would get my left and right confused if I tried. So I'm going to do the same side as you. We're going to bring our right hand up to the face. We're going to be using our thumb to block the right nostril. We're going to be using our ring finger to block the left nostril. So we're going to start with a breath in through both sides of the nose. Then block your right nostril with your thumb and breathe out on the left side. Breathe in through the left side. Switch at the top of your inhale, blocking with the ring finger, breathe out on the right side. Breathe in through the the right nostril. Switch again at the top of that inhale. We're going to continue with this pattern for a few more rounds. And just switching at the top of those inhalations. So breathing out through the left nostril one last time. So wherever you are in that cycle, just finish it. And when you switch back to that left nostril, breathe out one more time. When you finish that left side exhale, and let your hand come down. And just pause here for a moment to notice the effect of that breath work and the rest of the practice that you've done. If you want to take a few minutes for Shavasana, or really as much time as you want, it doesn't have to be just a few, then you can pause the video here. We'll take just another moment to notice what you're feeling physically. Notice what you're feeling energetically, your mental state. Two more deep breaths. With the next inhale, bring the hands up to the heart, sitting up tall. Exhale, namaste.